Hi everyone, it's Sam here at Model Chili Scale Models, and here is Bandai's Clone Trooper from the Star Wars prequels in 1/12 scale. And I'm quite surprised it's taken me as long as it has to get this kit, because I've absolutely always loved the Clone Troopers, right from Episode 2, Episode 3, the Clone Wars cartoon, and the Clone Wars CGI animated series. I just love the whole backstory, the look of the armour, all the hardware like the tanks and the walkers and the gunships, and the fact that they've all the different units and legions have got all the different coloured patterns, like the 501st being all blue, and Commander Cody and Commander Gree, oranges and greens. So that's what I'm planning to do with this kit, paint it up a certain colour. Haven't quite decided yet, but I'm guessing it'll be in the video thumbnail. And but as you can see on the box, there's the two different Clone Troopers, the Phase 1 and Phase 2. And so you've actually got the option of attaching the helmet of each one, even though it's just a single body. So that's quite nice. And so when I was buying this kit, I was thinking, well, how am I going to decide which one to build? Because, I mean, I like them pretty much equally. And so that was just easily solved by buying two of them. So I'll do one of each, and they will be the same colour from the Phase 1 to Phase 2. So let's have a look inside the box. Okay, so I've built a few of these Bandai figures, so this should all be fairly standard. With the 1/12 scale, if you didn't already know, it's pretty much equivalent to the 6-inch figure series that you can get from the Black series, so that it'll match up to all those other figures. So it's quite a nice scale. So the first bag of sprues, and we've just got some of the armour pieces, some of the body black pieces. There's the sticker options. Some nice sole prints there. And the two different blasters. Carbine in the rifle. There's the main armour pieces that have got the two different helmets, and the body, all the body stuff is all the same across both versions. Here, and then the black, slightly flexible parts for the joints, and the base and the water slide decals. Very simple there. And then the instructions, all in Japanese, I guess. Oh no, there's a bit of English in there. And yeah, so really straightforward, not a problem to follow these instructions. And then there's the painting guide, and it actually includes a little visor for the Phase 2 Clone Trooper, which is pretty cool. Right, so let's get building. Okay, so I've decided that it's going to be easier to paint some of these parts up before assembly, so especially the some of the face pieces on the helmet, so I can mask this up and paint it a lot easier before the black visor has been put in. And same with the Phase 2 helmet. And also I want to keep the black bodysuit a flat black, and then the white armour pieces shiny white. So what I'll do is I'll assemble as much of these as I can and then do the flat coat on them. And then for the armour pieces I'll do the painting and the masking, and then give them a gloss coat, and then put them all together at the end. So it's kind of different than what I've done before with previous Bandai kits, where I've put them all together and then done all the painting and weathering. But because there's quite a bit of black undersuit exposed on these clones, I do want that flat black to show through, and it's going to be a lot easier to do that when they're all separate. So hopefully it all works out. Okay, so I'm about ready to paint my first masked piece, which is the chest armour. And I've gone for the 501st Legion, so it's going to be a nice swooping blue pattern. And I've just got various thicknesses of masking tape, but the little strange bit you see in the middle is just a leftover sticker from my Shore Trooper kit, from the sticker sheet that I didn't use. And I found a piece that was just the right width to mask off this little block of white, and then I sliced off the top and then just moved it a bit further up to match the correct pattern. So yeah, it's really handy to keep these spare decals and stickers around, because you never know when you might need them. And for the colour, it's just a Vallejo standard blue, so 4 parts of that to 1 part white to lighten it up a little bit. And so now I've got a nice bright blue to start off with a nice thin coat. Okay, so now it's the moment of truth, seeing if this masking has paid off. Sometimes I wish I wouldn't wrap it so tightly around. But even if it's not perfect, I mean, I've pretty much just eyeballed it, the measurements wise, and even if the lines don't come out perfectly straight, it's going to be chipped up and bashed about a little bit, so it doesn't need to be too pristine. Okay, so that size come out okay. A little bit of a nick there, but I can sort that out with a bit of chipping. Alright, so that's the bulk of it. Now let's get the little piece in the middle. Hopefully that's worked okay as a masking tape. Not bad. Okay, so that's kind of worked. Looks about even. Pretty gutted about this little knock here, but yeah, I'll do a bit of chipping and then that'll hopefully hide a bit of that unevenness. But apart from that, looks pretty good so far. Okay, now comes the fun bit. Because the acrylic's painted straight onto this shiny plastic and it's still a bit soft, I can just get a toothpick and then just lightly start chipping and scoring. And the paint comes off super easy. Now I've had a look at the back of the Clone Trooper armour with the 501st, and that scene in Revenge of the Sith where Bail confronts the clones at the Jedi Temple. And they're like, "I'm sorry sir, it's time for you to leave." There's a shot of the back of the clones, and this back plate is really chipped up. There's only a few flakes of blue left. So I'm just going to use this opportunity to really dig into it. Okay, so that's all the blue pieces all chipped up and ready for more weathering. But before I start on that, I'm just going to give the blue layer of paint a protective coat of Tamiya Clear from the spray can. Right, so now for the various black marks and scuffing that you see on the armour. I've just got a little pool of where is it? Vallejo Model Colour Black, and this model colour range is slightly thicker than the Model Air range, so it's better for brush painting, but it doesn't really matter in this case. And I've just got a thin brush, and I'm just going to try and do some general straight lines and try and make it look random but not too uniform. And then just do some patches and smudges, and then just smudge it with my finger a little bit. It's looking at reference photos, it can be quite random and chaotic. I don't know if the camera is picking up that music in the background. It's actually Bruce Springsteen, the boss, in concert here in Christchurch for one night only. Oh, and the E Street Band, I presume. The wind picks up the sound every now and again and blows it towards my way. I hope YouTube doesn't pick this music up and give me a copyright strike. Wouldn't that be hilarious? And now I've got the Tamiya Weathering Master. So these are various pigments that you apply with this applicator. I'm just going to use a bit of the soot colour, just as a general black mark, especially down by the boots. And just rub it along here. Not forgetting the heels, the soles. And just a little bit on these big armour pieces. So it looks pretty messy now, but what I'm going to do is come back with a toothpick and a cotton bud and clean some of it up once I've got everything down. Right, so now I'm just going to do a bit of weathering on the weathering. It's a real nice little touch that I like to do, just to add that little bit more realism. That even weathering and staining often gets weathered, so you'll get fresh chips and some of these black lines. And this is where the clear coat comes into play, because I can scratch this blue to get the black off, and the blue's pretty much protected. And just using a bit of water on this pointed cotton bud, I can just pull back some of this weathering where I think it's a bit too heavy. Okay, so based on the clones in the movie, I've just put a very subtle yellowish wash down the side here, and on the other side it's kind of a more of a dirty yellowish staining around here, and also on the little earpieces, which are pretty hard to see really. On there, and now I'm just going to do a tiny light grey wash on, where is it? Yeah, I can sort of control pad just to bring out, highlight some of these lines. And the same on some of these belt boxes. Not too heavy, just nice and light, just to bring out some of these shadows and some of the lines. And on this groin piece. Right, so that's all the weathering done. And I did end up doing a little bit of mud weathering on the boots and the shins, just from this weathering set, the mud colour. Just to put a little bit more colour into the weathering. And I have decided that the gloss coat, the gloss clear, is probably a bit too shiny for this finish. So I went out and got the next step down, which is the semi-gloss clear TS79. And I've not actually used this before. I've not really had a need to do a semi-gloss finish. So this will be a first for me. And we'll see how it turns out. Right, so here's how the semi-gloss looks. Overall it looks pretty good. It's perhaps just a teeny bit too shiny, but I think it strikes a good balance between being shiny and not being shiny. I mean, I can't really put a flat coat down because that'll be just too flat. So I'm pretty happy with how that is for now. And so now it's time to put it all together. Got all the black pieces in this box. Yes, it's a Star Trek box, but I think we can overlook that. Okay, so there he is all put together. I've got a few leftover different hands, his visor of course, and I'll do the two blasters right at the end. So I'm really happy with how it's come together. The paint looks pretty good. No major misalignments. Weathering looks about right. The leg stripes look okay. Yeah, it's quite a bit of guesswork laying all this up without knowing what it was going to look like when it was all put together. But it wasn't too complicated, and thankfully it looks like it's paid off. So now I've got to do the entire whole thing again. But first, I'm just going to do the blasters, and I'm just going to spray straight on Vallejo Model Air Metallic Black, which is a really nice colour for these blasters. Alright, so here they are done and dusted. And as you can see, the phase 1 has had a slightly different pattern, well, completely different pattern. I went for a more traditional phase 1 Clone Trooper look. May or may not be accurate to the 501st, but I wanted to do something just a little bit different. And it's the same colour anyway, at least. And also the weathering on the phase 1 just slightly less than the phase 2. So the backstory is that he's quite fresh to the Clone Wars, and this is the same guy perhaps a few years down the road, and his armour's a bit more beaten up. So yeah, on the blasters, I after the metallic black, I just did a black wash over the rifle. Did a few detail pieces in gunmetal, and then just did the satin gloss, the semi-gloss finish. So it's fairly simple. And just to give you a closer look at the pattern on the phase 1. So it was the helmet, just the thick stripe down the arms, and then the blue box on the back. Oh, and a little red highlights for the top of the mohawk. And I basically measured up this stripe just by using a strip of the thin Tamiya masking tape. I applied it, it was about the right width, so I just applied a strip down the middle, and then a strip of masking tape either side, and then removed the strip in the middle, and it gave me a consistent thickness across all the 3 different pieces. Oh, and across the elbow pads as well. And by the 4 dots, those were actually decals for this kit, but they were meant for the 4 grey circles at the back, which I ended up painting instead, because they're recessed in there. And yeah, so those were spare, and they were almost perfect for the dot markings that you see on the phase 1. It's not exactly the right colour, it should be the same blue, but it's bluish, and it looks pretty good. Yeah, we'll just have a closer look at the phase 2. So I've got him with the old fist pumping action. He's ready to kick some clanger ass. And quite happy with how the semi-gloss has worked out. It kind of tones down as it's set more after I sprayed it, so it's not quite as shiny as I initially thought. Let me just correct some of this white balance a little bit. There we go. So I'm really happy with how the wash and the weathering's turned out on the helmet. It's a pretty close match to how these guys looked at the Jedi Temple. And they retain the shininess of the visor. So yeah, so we're painting all the different pieces separately and then putting them together has really worked out, because you've got the flat black of the bodysuit and then the shininess of the armour. One slight issue though was the See if I can get some light on it. The flat coat of the bodysuit, because of these kits are so well engineered, as I was piecing everything together, the flat coat started to scrape a little bit and flake off in certain areas. Thankfully it's not that noticeable, but it has left a couple of shiny patches where it's scraped off. So that's a bit of a shame. Thinking about it, I could possibly, if I was to do this again, I might try sanding with a fine grit, just sanding the black pieces, and that'll give you the matte finish without having a layer of paint over the top. And yeah, I'm really tempted to get more of these. I mean, the possibilities are limitless, really. The types of colours, the different patterns you could do. You could even make yourself a Commander Gree with this green camouflage armour, and then just scratch build a couple of straps that go up the front, and that could look pretty cool. And yeah, I guess the biggest flaw I've found with these kits in particular is just the articulation is pretty much non-existent. Basically because of the way the armour is designed. You've got these elbow and knee straps attached to the guards. Just really limits the articulation. I mean, this is the most dynamic I can make this guy look with the rifle. I mean, he looks kind of stiff, but I just can't get the arms to bend any further. I mean, it really contrasts to the Stormtrooper or the Shore Trooper with these double jointed elbows and knees. I've got a lot more movement because they don't have these straps in the way. So that's a bit of a shame, but I guess it's just the design of the armour, really. Bandai couldn't really do much about that. But as far as fit and quality of the build goes, it's just the usual Bandai top-notch stuff, really. Really happy with how it's come out. On the stands, I haven't painted them. I've just left them the shiny plastic. I may paint them in the future, but I've kind of gone off painting them because as you attach and remove the figures, it kind of ends up scuffing up the paint. So I've just kind of left it off for now. Alright, so that wraps up another really enjoyable build. I hope you've enjoyed watching it as much as I've enjoyed building it. And I hope you like the final result. But as always, please leave a comment or a like or a dislike. I always appreciate you guys' feedback, negative and positive. Just helps us all out, really. And a big shout out to my friends Models by Will, fellow Kiwi, and Bashing Kits, and Bashing Kits. I've had some really nice conversations with them over some of the Bandai kits and other model stuff in general. And yeah, so go check out their channels. I'll put a link in the video description. And yeah, so again, thanks for watching, and until next time, I hope to see you again. Take care.